welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about how I bought my first house at 22. So first off, I'm going to talk to you guys about why I decided to buy a house at this age and what the process was like. I could do future videos more in depth on like how to go about it, but this is going to be a general kind of overview if you're thinking about buying property at some point in time. I graduated college about a year ago. Then I moved to another state for medical school. And so I was actually renting an apartment for about a year. And to be honest, the reason why I thought about buying a house is because my lease was about to be up and I saw the amount I was paying in rent every month. And plus I was also renting furniture because at the time I didn't have enough money to buy my own. So that was kind of adding up. And I decided that this was something I kind of wanted to do in the future, so but like way in the future, like after I finished med school type future, but the opportunity presented itself and I said, why not? So the first tip I'm going to tell you guys that I did was, one, it's a mindset. So honestly, I started a house fund from I was in college. Like, even though I told you I was planning to get a house in maybe 10 years or so, I started a house fund since college. And I would put towards that house fund every month. It doesn't have to be a ton of money. It could just be something that you're saying, okay, this is towards this goal that I'm having. So I already had a little bit in my house fund. So then I started kind of researching the area. So I was on your Zillow, on your Trulia, on your Redfin and all that stuff, looking at houses, trying to figure out what the prices in the area were like, which was expensive. If y'all know me, I do not like doing maintenance work. I'm not mowing the lawn. I'm not shoveling snow. I'm not doing none of that. So I decided that I wanted to actually get a condo. I felt like that was just the best of both worlds. I would get to own something and I wouldn't have to worry about the maintenance part per se. I would just be responsible for whatever is inside my four walls. So the first step, honestly, go to a mortgage calculator. So I personally like NerdWallet, but there are tons of other ones out there. And you just go to that mortgage calculator and you figure out what you would be comfortable paying every month. So I feel like a lot of people do it backwards in that they say, oh, I want to spend this much on a house, or this is how much I want to take out in a mortgage, and not understanding that you have to break that down into how much monthly payments you're going to make. So when it comes to buying a house, you don't only pay your mortgage. You probably pay your light bill, your gas bill, water, sewer, deposit, the down payment, the closing costs, and a bunch of other maintenance fees that you probably don't think about. And then if you're also living in certain neighborhoods, they have something called an HOA, which is a homeowners association. So depending on the neighborhood, a lot of houses or homes have those where you'll pay towards them and they help you with the maintenance aspect of the house. So making sure the neighborhood looks good. With condos now, condos have a condo fee. And those fees vary. They could be super cheap to super expensive, like almost more than your mortgage would be. So you just have to look into that and be mindful of that. And that is not included in your mortgage. So when I was going down, I was like, okay, this is how much I'm comfortable spending every month for a mortgage, still taking into consideration these are some of the other bills that I would possibly have. So after that step, I wrote down my list of must-haves, and I would say come up with 5 and just be mindful that they're probably gonna change. So to be honest with you guys, my list of must-haves were, I'm like, I need a washer and dryer in my house because I don't want to walk to the laundry. I needed it to be close to my school/work, and I was like, I want a walk-in closet, I wanted an island, I wanted a whole bunch of stuff. And I put those on my must-haves list. And I quickly came to realize, based on how much I wanted to spend on the home, I was gonna have to tell those a lot. Okay, not even a little bit, a lot. But which is also why it's super important to have that list so that when you're looking, you don't get sidetracked and distracted by whatever's going on. So needless to say, I kind of did all of this before going on Trulia and like those other search engines, because it's important. Like, you can get really attached and fall in love with the different places and it's not in your budget. It doesn't have the amenities that you want, and sometimes it's not reliable. There's a bunch of people vying for it. So it was just easier for me to have those search filters, as you would say, from the beginning. So after I had that, I kind of did some research on mortgages, and that was honestly kind of confusing to me. It's a lot of information, and a lot of resources tell you a bunch of different things. So for me, it was more helpful to talk to someone one-on-one. So I called a few of the big banks and kind of talked to them, but they were honestly hard to get in contact with. So the next step after let's see what we've done so far. So we created our fund. We found out how much we were comfortable paying each month with our mortgage calculator and went backwards. And then the third thing that we did was we created a list of our must-haves. So next, and a really important step, is finding a realtor. So I was actually recommended a realtor from one of my colleagues, but finding a realtor, you go online, you Google people in your area, and you read those reviews and see what other people have to say about them. And a way to judge whether you have a good realtor or not is how, one, accessible they are, and two, how much information they share with you and how comfortable they are with you asking them questions. So if you have a good realtor, they'll also give you that information about what mortgages or what mortgages you could possibly get, or what mortgage companies are good in the area and things of that nature. So another thing to note is that there are different types of mortgage loans. They have the VA loan, which is more for veterans or military personnel. You have the FHA loan, which is for first-time home buyers. And then you have like your other typical mortgage loans. There's a ton of them out there, so you just kind of have to do your research. Once you get your realtor and you get hooked up with your mortgage loan and you check out those interest rates. Also, don't be like me and be a one and done. Talk to different people. You can talk to different realtors. It's not a guarantee like once you talk to one person and they give you information. So you could talk to different people, get different opinions, hear different people out before you make that decision. I was just like, listen, my lease is about to be up. Like, I need this to happen with a quickness. One thing that I forgot to mention was that you need to get your credit score up, and it needs to be at a good place for you to start this process, because your credit score is what tells bank lenders that you are a reliable buyer. There is a difference between pre-approval and pre-qualification. Pre-qualification is like the easy 1, 2, 3, bam, bam, bam. Cool, you can possibly get pre-approved, and being pre-approved is like the more strenuous process of them literally going through your business. Who sent you what? Who's good? Clearly, I cannot speak, but next. Who sent you what? Who cash apped you what? Who Zelled you, quick paid you? And where's this money coming from? So they in your business. So just be mindful of that. And they will be in your business for the entire process. So don't go doing nothing that you don't need to do, okay? After that, the pre-approval process, I started looking at homes with my realtor. And the reason that I did this after the pre-approval is because it's just a stronger, it's just an asset to have that pre-approval ready to go before you look at homes. That way, if you fall in love with something, you can say, all right, this is what I want. Let's put this offer in and let's get the ball rolling. And it's also super important to have a good mortgage company who is accessible, because say you want to put in your offer on a home and it is Friday at 5 p.m. If you're calling these mortgage lenders who are like the big name people, they going home at 5 p.m. on Friday. Like, they're not answering you, and you have a worse chance of getting that house. But if you have a smaller, this is just my opinion, I am in no means or ways a house guru or anything like that, just giving you guys my experience. But if you have a smaller mortgage lender, why can't I speak today, you guys? I don't know what's happening. But if you have a smaller mortgage lender, then they're more accessible. So in general, for me, the process was actually really stress-free and really easy. The home that I got was the first home that I went in. I kind of walked in there and was just like, yep, I love it. This is it. I did see another place, but Also, because of my must-have list and my price requirement, that kind of limited my options in general. If you like a home, you let your realtor know, like, yep, this is it, I want it, cool. And after that, they'll put in the offer for you. Depending on if the seller likes the offer, they'll say yay, nay, or maybe this is our counter offer. And you guys have to both decide on that price that you're okay with giving and receiving. So, two things to be mindful also when you're buying a house: the down payment and the closing costs. So that is something I didn't really know about before. The down payment was like, yeah, okay, of course, down payment. But closing costs, woohoo! And if you're curious as to what a closing cost is, those are kind of just everything that at the end of the sale that you have to pay for upfront. So usually that includes a few months of your property insurance, some of the other things that needed to be paid for to get the house closed, like the title, the deed, like all of those things. One thing to mention, you guys, I bought this house during a pandemic. So that was a completely different home buying process than what most people have seen before. So I'll talk a little bit about that and what that was like. Normally, when you do, you're looking for houses, you bring a friend or you bring a family member, whatever the case is. But in this case, it was super limited. You had to sign a waiver saying that you weren't experiencing any COVID-like symptoms, and you had to wear a mask, and even you and the realtor had to be 6 feet apart the whole time. So that was kind of weird, being 6 feet apart from somebody and like, oh, what did you think about this blind over here on this wood flooring? It's kind of like, this is kind of awkward, but made it work. And then a lot of the normal in-person paperwork was all online, digital, like you send it to me, sign it, send it back. But the really different parts were, so after you get through the offer that's accepted, you go through a home appraisal, which is just the process of making sure the home is not, you're not being overcharged for a home. And then you have the home inspection. So that is just to go through the house and make sure that even though the house may look all pretty, the walls is painted, and all these wonderful splendiferous things, that the interior of the house is good. So like the plumbing, the electric work, things of that nature. There's no mold and anything blatantly wrong with the structure of the home. So normally you do that, you and the home inspector and the realtor, you guys do that together. You come together, go through the walkthrough, and he's pointing it out to you and saying this, that, and the third. But this time it was virtual. So the home inspector would just like text me and my realtor and like, hey, I'm here. And then any problems he found, he would text us. And so I'm sitting at home like, oh my gosh, everything is wrong with this house. Like, he kept sending pictures and I'm like, okay, like this is like, it's done. I was so hopeful that I was about to get a house and everything, but I guess not, because the house is broken. Of course I pick a house that's broken. And afterwards, like after talking to my realtor, he was like, this is just so different, because normally the home inspector is telling you, like walking you through step by step and telling you, oh, this is normal wear and tear. Like these findings are normal when we look through houses. Like this is a pretty good house. And I was like, wait, what? With all the things that you guys said was wrong with it? Okay, fine, cool. The major part that was different was the closing. So that's normally a place where you have a lawyer, your realtor, and you're all sitting down and you sign the papers, and it's like this dramatic moment. You get the keys and you take the picture and we're just like, yeah, I got a house, woohoo, I got the keys, I'm sorry. But that didn't happen. It was all virtual. They were like, hey, we're gonna mail you these papers. Call me on Zoom and I'll walk you through them, and you sign them and you drop them back in the mail, and then you'll get the keys. And it was kind of like, yeah, I got keys, but it just didn't feel like I bought a house. I mean, it feels like it now because I'm in the house, but yeah, so that was the process. So even though it was during COVID-19, during a whole pandemic, it was still a relatively seamless process, and I totally contribute that to, one, my realtor, and also the planning and research that I did beforehand. Thank you guys. Let me know what you thought about this video. If you had any other specific questions about the home buying process that I could answer without getting too personal, of course, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos. Hope you enjoyed your daily dose of melanin. Bye guys.